Okay, now we've got our objective. We've got something that is connected, significant, stretching, and time-bound. So now we've got to come up with the key results. Key results tell us how well we're doing and, in fact, whether we succeed or not. So the questions you're going to ask are things like, so what are the measurable achievements? And if we put them all together, we look at it and go, oh, that means we nailed it. We've got it. How will we determine significant progress? Are there milestones we could say, at month 1, we need to do this, we ought to be here? And how will we know at the end of the day? Again, no particular magic in the questions itself. Open-ended, just going, what should we be seeing? Then you've got to audit your key results. Your results need to be specific, measurable, a mix of outputs and inputs. So again, this is where, depending upon who you read, some people are Nazi-like in their insistence that no, a key result is only a measure. Okay, you must have, if you have a sales OKR, the only KRs in that will be things like number of units sold by when. Okay. When you look at DOOR and you look at some others about how it's actually used, though, I don't need, if that's all on the end score, I just probably need one of those. But are there ways that maybe direct my efforts that point out significant achievements that would help me get there? So if designing a superior sales training program that has 100% involvement by all of our sales associates and exceeds a 9 out of 10 on satisfaction score. Okay, so you see that's an achievement. That's not saying how many sales we had, but that's one of the things by, wow, if you can really do that, that probably really moves us towards the objective we're trying to get to. So that's what I mean by a mix of input. That would be one of the things that lead up to the achievement of the objective, and not just the hard numbers. Recommended. All key results, though, when you've got your small set, if you hit those key results, you have achieved your objective. Okay, so they're mutually, like they mirror one another. And they've got to be balanced. Now, who knows what that is? You got to be a certain age to...
It's not a Pinto.
It is a Ford Pinto.
I would have hated to miss that.
Okay. My girlfriend in high school had a Ford Pinto, that color.
Me too.
Okay, now, who knows anything about Ford Pintos?
They don't have them anymore. They're small.
They don't have them anymore. Why don't they have them anymore, Stefan?
Didn't they have the engine in the back and they exploded a lot?
They exploded. It wasn't the engine in the back, it was the gas tank in the back.
Oh, gas tank.
It was the gas tank in the back. And it actually did blow up and killed a lot of folks. And was not only because of the human life loss, was it sad and terrible and tragic, but do you think that really helped Ford's brand as a business? So the story is that, the person in charge of Ford at this point was the guy we know by the name of Lee Iacocca. Before he went to Chrysler and kind of did his thing there. Lee Iacocca said, we will create, because we were getting beat up by the Japanese, all right? We must create a vehicle that is cool and sporty. That was objective, or key result. Let's talk about that in a second. That was the big measurable there. It's got to be cool and sporty because it has these things. It's got to be cheap, inexpensive, because that was what the Japanese were producing. Less costly than American-made cars. Had to be under $2,000. Okay, and cheap and what was it? Reliable. I'm forgetting. No, but that's the point. That's the point. It had to be sporty, inexpensive. I'm forgetting what the third one was. But the point is that there was a $1 piece of plastic that could have been inserted between the bumper and the gas tank that would have prevented every one of those. And it was suggested, it was recommended by an engineer. It was turned down. Oh, the other one was weight. I'm sorry, that was the third one. It had to be light. It was turned down because it was added $1 to the cost, and it added a measurable, negligible amount of weight. And so by having focus, the point is when all of our key results are focused in just one direction, we could overlook something that's very important to us, okay? So you want to say, does this fully capture, are we missing an important metric that ought to be part of truly achieving this objective? Okay, now, that is the point for balance. You want to select a balanced set of 3 to 4. Yes, what's your question on that?
One of the things that was helpful, that's helpful for me to keep in mind, most people use these sorts of, the MBOs or those sort of things as performance-related reviews and tie them to the income or of people. But Doer says you should not do that, and you should. This is not connected to your the review of a person and their performance.
A key point. So here's another way that OKRs are different, is that it has nothing to do with compensation. In fact, in some companies, I'm not sure if it's in Google, Google has a repository you could go back, but they don't make it, it's not allowed to be part of the compensation conversation or your performance review at the end of the year. We know if you're working hard or not. Okay, what's the problem with tying an objective to compensation? What is that going to produce?
Maybe some manipulation, some short-sightedness, some bad stuff.
Yep. So who knows what sandbagging means? Okay. Sandbagging means if I know it's tied to my money, and I'm said, now go ahead and set your goals. What do I have to do? I mean, if I'm just a rational human being, I'm going to set them where I know I can achieve them, which means I'm leaving effort, energy, and creative thinking on the table. I'll never go there. All right? So, what I think one of the geniuses, and this goes back to Andy Grove at Intel, what he insisted was that OKRs don't have anything to do with how we compensate. We don't review. You're not going to get a grade. Your OKRs, I'm getting sideways. We're going to grade your OKRs mercilessly. You put hard numbers on it, and most of the time when you're setting something that's way out of there, what happens? You fail. Get used to it. That's a good thing. That means we're trying really hard. If, in fact, one of the things they say is if you go back and score these OKRs and you're hitting all of them, we know you're not doing this right. You're not stretching if you're hitting all of them. So they expect to see something else. So I pass this out. Here's what I want to get us to get to. This is a quality continuum, and let's see what the first one is. If our objective, right, that's important. It would be if I'm on a race team, we want to win the Indy 500. Okay, here's a couple of KRs that you go, okay, what's the problem with increased lap speed, reduced pit stop time? Well, it's not yes, it doesn't get to the measure that'll tell us whether in fact we did that or not. Okay, so we can improve it simply by actually putting a number on it. But still, we can amp it up a little bit more by doing, hey, you know what? Now this gets to one of those qualitative or input type KRs that I was talking about. This isn't the end score, but if we make sure as part of our process, we have rigorous testing, does that move us further towards achievement, likely achievement of our objective? Yes, it does. Okay. Practice pit stops 1 hour per day. It's putting a measure on something we might likely forget, but we know if we do that, we're likely to drop it so that we can get this other one of reducing pit stop time by 1 second so that we can win the game. Okay, so this is a good set. Now, here's a real set. 2 days ago, I used to work for a company called Learning Unlimited here in town. They're still in town. They were some of my mentors back in the 90s. got a chance to come here and actually be a part of the company in 2011. I left the company a year and a half ago, okay, but we remain close friends. I sent the book to Mike. He liked it, and he said, hey, Rob, would you come over and do OKRs for me and our team here? Sure, that'd be fine. So I did this 2 days ago. Now, y'all know what DISC is. Okay, so I asked Mike, so tell me what your strategy is. They're at a strategy now where they're wanting to teach people in organizations how to fish. That is, how to use the DISC tool so that they're using them internally. So kind of a trainer of trainers type thing. That's where he's going now. All right, so within that, talk to me about what you really want to do, because he does some training, but he really wants to rock the DISC world, right? To really sell a ton of those. Now, by the way, he buys them at wholesale, sells them at retail, right? So there's a markup piece. And then if I come and train you as well, there's additional service. But he wants to focus on really being the seller in the Southwest. I said, okay, Mike, that sounds a little bit more, that doesn't sound like you're going to achieve that in a quarter. So break that down for me. What would a meaningful move in that way, and how would you word it? He's got 4 months left. He wants to kill it in 2019. Now, side note, wording of the objective actually matters. You want to get, if somebody in your group says, man, I want to crush something, and everybody goes, that's a good objective. Use those words. Because part of what an objective does is it calls for, yeah, we want to dive into it. So that was his words. He wants to kill it in 2019. All right, so talk to me about what the key results for that would be. He gave me a figure of how much he wanted to get in wholesale. I said, okay, that sounds good. Why that number? I mean, can you get more than that? Or how likely is it that you're going to get that? No, I think if everything goes pretty well, we ought to get that. What alarm bell is going off in my head? It's too achievable. So I started pressing, well, Mike, come on now. What if you did everything you could possibly do, and your team was doing all of the stuff that they could do? What's at the edge that you go, so he gave you a different figure. Okay, good, that's a good one. Now, notice this one. This is one of those, when everything is said and done, just simple number, amount sold kind of metric. I think you should get one of those as one of your OKRs if you can. Well, then we started getting into what are some things that would help you get there to that number? Now, ED, everything DISC, certification. That's one of the things he can do now that we couldn't do years ago, is that rather than you having to be certified by Wiley, he can actually go and do certifications. Right? If I certify a whole bunch of people to use DISC, well, then they'll use a whole lot more of the product, which will then lead us towards this. Oh yeah, how many of those you got scheduled, Mike? Well, got 2. What would awesome look like there? Now, I'm not talking about, what we're trying to do is, each one of these by itself is very stretchy. That's good. And by the way, I took this picture and then I said, so how many you got going? I said, well, all right, we changed it to 5. So that's a real one now, is he's got to go for 1 more before the end of the year. And then the last one, they've got a major client, international, you know the name, but it doesn't matter. He asked that I not do that. They're using the product right now, but he thinks they could use more. How much more product could they use, Mike? I think we could, I don't know, because he's going to give them some training materials and try coaching them and try to get some disperse of internal demand. We put it as 100%. He's going to double business with that one client. Now, questions about these? They're all achievable. No, sorry. Significant, real business value moves him to a different place as an organization if he does this. That's an objective. Measurable, difficult, very edge. He's got to bring everything he's got. His team has to bring everything they got, and they've got to actually think differently. You should look at a key result and go, maybe we can get there, but I'm not even sure how. So it forces you to go back and think differently. Okay?